Sometimes problems will refer to consecutive integers. Consecutive means in a row, and integers are like whole numbers that, or their opposites, -2, -100, +5. Integers don't have a decimal or a fractional part. So if I talk about consecutive integers, they're just integers in a row. So if I start with integer 3, the next one would be 4, next one would be 5, right in a row. So if I have two integers that are consecutive and I say let x be the first integer, the next consecutive integer would be would be 1 more than x, so it would be x plus 1. Okay. So if I call one integer x, the next integer would be x plus 1. Those are consecutive integers in a row. To get from one to the next, I just add 1. Another thing we're sometimes talked about are consecutive even or consecutive odd integers. So if you think about even integers, if I start with some even number 8, and I say what's the next consecutive one, the next even integer would be 10. So how much do they differ by? 2. So I always go up by 2 to get to the next even integer. So if I want to write two consecutive even integers and I call the first one x, the next one would be x plus 2. So these are even integers in a row. I know they're even because I'm defining the first one as an even integer. And then the second would be the next consecutive even integer. So if I put any even integer in for x, if I added 2, I would get the next consecutive even integer, the next even integer in a row. The same thing is going to happen for odd integers, because odd integers, like 9, the next one would be 11, next one would be 13, they also differ by 2 each time. So if I'm going to say x is an odd integer, and I want to find the next consecutive odd integer, it would also be x plus 2. That would be the next consecutive odd integer. So it doesn't matter if I'm talking about even integers or odd integers. Once I have one, the next consecutive one will go up by 2. So it just depends on the problem I have, whether I'm working with even integers or odd. So let's look at a couple story problems where this could come in. The first one I want to look at says the sum of two consecutive odd integers is 236. What are the integers? So it says I'm looking for two integers, so I could say the first odd integer is going to be what I'm going to call x. So if I want a consecutive odd integer, the next one would be 2 more than that. Because if this was an odd integer, I'd have to add 2 to get to the next one. That would be the second odd integer. And these are consecutive. So I've defined the first integer and the second in terms of it, and it says the sum of them is 236. So if I added the first plus the second, I'd get 236. The first I called x plus the second, which was x plus 2. So x plus 2 equals 236. To solve that, I would need to combine like terms. X plus x is 2x, so I have 2x plus 2 equals 236. I can subtract 2. 2x equals 234. Bring that up here. So if I have 2x equals 234, and I divide both sides by 2, I would get x equals 117. So the question is, what are the integers? The integers are 117, and the second one was 2 more than that, 119. And those are indeed consecutive odd integers, and I can double check that the sum of those is 236. Let's try one more problem that deals with consecutive integers. This one that says the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 87. What are the integers? So this is just 3 consecutive integers. So if I call the first one x, and the next consecutive one would just be one more, x plus 1. And then if I wanted to go the next integer past that, I'd have to add 2. So here I have 3 integers. They're consecutive in a row, x, x plus 1, x plus 2. So you can think if I put a number in for x and I added 1, I'd get to the next number. If I added 2, I'd get to the number after that. So this one says the sum of those 3 consecutive integers is 87. So the first integer, which is x, plus the second integer, which is x plus 1, plus the third integer, which is x plus 2. Here they are, the first, the second, the third. The sum of those is 87. Now I have my equation. I can combine like terms, x plus x plus x. 3x plus 1 plus 2 is 3 equals 87. Solving for x, I'll isolate the x term. And finally, eliminate the coefficient. Cancel it out. 3 goes into 84. Let's see, 2 times and 8, 28. Okay. So now I want to say I have 28 as x. That was the first integer, so my integers are 28. The next one is the next consecutive, and then the final. So to double check it, I might want to just make sure that those added up to 87. So I have 28, 29, and 30. I could add those up, 6, 7, 8, and just check to make sure they added up to 87.